Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we are swatching the 6 Diamine inks I have that are just standard Diamine inks, so not special edition or anything like that. I have six to a page, and it's a bit of an eclectic collection. Well, that's a lie. There's actually some pretty clear fan favorites in here, but let's jump to it. First cab off the rank is Diamine Apple Glory. Out of all of the inks, this is the one I know the least about, and I've done a few videos now with this type of swatching, and I'm just really enjoying it, so I'm going to stick with it at the moment. That's not to say that the measuring cup won't ever come back. I'm sure it will, but I've just been really enjoying this, and so I'm going to stick with it because I might as well enjoy. Oh, that's a crappy sentence. You know what I'm trying to say. The sentence was so bad I didn't even bother finishing it. So, I'm trying to persevere with this Iru Utsushi pen. I like the thicker line. Just see, look at that. It just hasn't been as nice a writing experience as the fine nib. I will keep going. I actually wonder, can you put pens like this? Like, I guess I could put some like brush sheets through it or something. Maybe that's worth doing. I didn't talk about the ink at all, then I was talking about the pens. So first up is Diamine. I'm not going to say Diamine every time. Apple Glory. So really punchy green, definitely on the saturated, like bright side. I wonder if this would be maybe a nice ink to use to like welcome in spring. I like actually the lighter parts of it. There's a softness to that ink, to that part of the ink, that speaks a bit more to me. But as it comes into this kind of, what is that, like a true kind of foresty, vibrant green, that's nice as well. But yeah, this color here is probably my favorite bit of it. So next up is Twilight. This is the first bottle of ink I ever bought. I really like it. It's a safe ink for me, and when I say safe, I definitely don't mean boring. I think this ink has a lot going for it. Make sure I didn't get any ink on this pen holder. So let's have a looky-loo. I've seen a few people, there's a chat about, I obviously didn't get enough there, this ink on Reddit. And this seems to be an ink that's quite sensitive to the paper that you're using. Some people call it green, some people call it blue, some people call it teal. And I've actually looked through like people's ink swatches or writing samples of it. And it really can look super different depending on the pen and ink combination. So really interesting for me on this paper, and I guess especially with that true green above, that looks quite blue. Can see hints of teal in it. I can understand why people also call this a teal ink. I think it's really beautiful for someone, and I'm talking about myself, who doesn't pick up blue inks a lot. This one I really do like. I like that it's dark. I like the little bits of black halo that come in, and it's almost like the darker bits of the bluer, and then that lighter underneath is where some of that teal's coming through. And it's just something I really enjoy. I have enjoyed every pen I've put it in. I've enjoyed it every time I swatch it. It's just a great ink, and I think something about, I think I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me. Diamine is, they're kind of just like, you know what you get? You're getting, which I love. When I was trying to like tune some pens and was, I would do it with this ink. Next up is an ink that has been a fan favorite, one of the Reddit inks, Earl Grey. Last time I swatched this ink, I went on a a ramble about how it doesn't look like Earl Grey tea, and then in the comments someone was talking to me about like there was like an Earl like in the olden days, and that's probably who it's named after. It's a grey ink. It's beautiful. Pardon me. I was trying to think who just swatched this recently. Do you know who did? Karina swatched this recently, and it looked so different in her swatch compared to when I have not just swatched but used it. Oh, I'm not getting any on here. What's going on? When I've used it before, I'm not entirely sure. Oh, look, there's still a couple of inks that don't like this nib. When I have swatched this ink before and when I've written with it, depending on the paper and like the light, like bits of warmth really come through. You can see there even as it's drying, like little bits of like a pinky purple undertone. And I remember in her video, I didn't see any of that come through. So I don't actually remember off the top of my head what paper she was using, but it's just, I guess, something to consider, that people, you still can have really different experiences of an ink. For me, I've absolutely love using this ink. I've used it at work before. I put it in my Moonman, which is fast becoming my like go-to work pen, and have just really, really enjoyed it. I only have, that's probably like maybe 2 ml left. I reckon it might even be a little bit less, and I'm going to be upset, but this is one that I can definitely see myself buying a bottle of. I'm trying to do this thing where I don't buy any bottles new, so only when people like wanting to offload, like buy them secondhand or used, so to speak. But this ink is so very loved. I don't think people are going to be wanting to get rid of a bottle anytime soon. It's one people kind of keep and get through, understandably. But Diamine is also quite cost effective, so that is on my list. I wonder if that's even just an ink I could actually just keep at work. Do you know what I don't know? I don't know where my blotting paper is. I have these little ones, but not as useful in this situation. That's okay. Okay, next up, this is an ink that is, and it kind of works out as kind of like 3 cooler tone and 3 warmer tone. This is Merlot. This was given to me by Shauna. It's a serial nana. I swatched it as part of my 30 inks, and I am chomping at the bit to get this into a pen. I love, love, love the look of this color. I cannot wait to ink it up. It's I don't know why, sometimes I get it just like perfect and it goes so well, and other times not so much. You know how I was like, I'm going to stick with this type of swatching, guys. I'm really enjoying it. Ooh, see, and then sometimes it just works. So it goes down, I think, slightly redder, but then dries to this beautiful, beautiful burgundy. It's just gorgeous. Look at those like purpley brown undertones. Amazing. That wasn't the best swatch in the world though. Let's see if I can do my squiggle any better. Look at that as it dries. Oh, and can you see here as it's drying there? So it's heavier on there, yeah, so it's drying like richer and deeper. But here, look at the little bits of purple coming through. Oh, I think it's such an amazingly gorgeous ink. I cannot wait to get this in a pen, and anything named after a red wine is going to have a place in my heart. Is it Monteverde do a wine series, I think? I'm pretty sure. So this is what a gorgeous ink. Really love burgundies. I love that it's kind of an in-between color, that it can still have like layers, but also be just like really like legible. All right, the final two are very, very well known. They actually need no introduction, but that would be weird because this is a swatching video. The final two are Oxblood and Ancient Copper. Oxblood is another one of the is it Oxblood or Rider Blood? That's the Reddit one. Anyway, Oxblood is a super dark red, a really wet ink. I actually haven't tried Rider's Blood yet, but I have heard people say that it's even wetter than Oxblood, which has kind of put me off a little bit, to be honest, because this ink is pretty wet. And I don't know why I'm struggling. Maybe it's the angle. Someone's screaming at me through YouTube being like, you're doing it wrong, it has to be like this. So let's try it at a steeper angle. Oh man, sorry guys, what a crappy video. So super dark red, it's got a pretty nice black halo, it's a wet ink, it writes really nicely. I kind of feel like if you have a pen that you're not sure if something's a bit off, I would chuck an ink like this in, because this ink is going to write in basically any and every pen. So if the pen still isn't writing with something like this in it, I think it's, you know, saying, yeah, something's not exactly right. It's funny. I think if it wasn't next to the Merlot, I would call it like a more browny red, but I think because this one is up here, it looks like much more of a truer red, and you can see like it just coats the nib. So I think that's also, you know, I actually am someone who enjoys swatching inks that I've swatched before, because depending on the palette that you're putting it with, it can just look so different. And I think that's awesome, and it also helps me just learn more and more about the different inks. And I have a little stencil underneath, yet somehow I still always seem to go on an angle. Lucky last is Ancient Copper. I have this in my vintage Parker vac at the moment. Chef's kiss. It is an absolute dream. This is another ink I can 100% see myself buying a bottle of. I would go for this over Oxblood. It's my in frame down the bottom here. Let's see how I went with that little dip there. Oh man, what is going on today, hey? So it's a really dark orangey, well, it's in the name, isn't it? Copper. It writes beautifully. What, I don't know, like I was swatching with this for like 2 hours yesterday, and it didn't really do this at all, only if I had a really shimmery ink. Maybe it's telling me it needs a break. So this ink I just think is beautiful. It looks fantastic coming out of the pen. It's dark, it's warm. I feel like a few times I talk about inks being like decadent, and this fits in that category for me. It just looks yum, I think. That's not the best swatch. I don't even think that swatch does it justice. For me, if this was an ink that you were like contemplating trying, you know, picking up a sample, I absolutely would. I have enjoyed writing with this ink so much. I will be sad when this sample is over. It's an ink. I actually can see myself just permanently inking that Parker vac with this, because the pairing has been so incredible, but it's like the first pairing that I did. So there we have it. Those are the 6 Diamine, like standard Diamine inks I have. Apple Glory, Twilight, Earl Grey, Merlot, Oxblood, and Ancient Copper. And interestingly, I'm just looking at this now. Between these two, it looks quite blue, and I wonder if I put it, for an example, down here, would we be seeing some more of the teal come through? So definitely some fan favorites in there for good reason. I'm so excited to try this. Love, haven't used yet. Love. I would love to know what your favorite Diamine is. I know there are some tried and true blues in there. that people use. I also actually have, I just realized just then, I have Mombotto's hat that I haven't tried yet, somewhere within my ink samples. So I actually do have a 7th, but maybe I can do a page of purples and that one can make an appearance there. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys again soon. Bye.